Hello, and welcome back to The Director's Cut, brought to you by the Directors Guild of America, where each episode we bring you a brand new interview with one of the film industry's top directors, conducted by one of their peers. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on Google Play Music, iTunes, Stitcher, or on our SoundCloud page at soundcloud.com/thedirectorscut. And if you're enjoying The Director's Cut, please take a moment to like, share, or comment. We love hearing your feedback. This episode takes us behind the scenes of director Stephen Gyllenhaal's new film, So Be It. The film tells the story of Heidi, a precocious 12-year-old whose mother has only 22 words in her entire vocabulary. But when a new word pops out of her mother's mouth, Heidi is propelled on a solo journey to discover who she is and where she and her childlike mother came from. In addition to So Be It, Mr. Gyllenhaal's 50 directorial credits include the feature films Certain Fury, A Dangerous Woman, Losing Isaiah, and Waterland, the Primetime Emmy Award-nominated movie for television A Killing in a Small Town, the Daytime Emmy Award-nominated CBS Afternoon Playhouse episode Help Wanted, and multiple episodes of the series Rectify, Blue Bloods, Numbers, and Lucky. Mr. Gyllenhaal was nominated for the DGA Movies for Television Miniseries Award for his 2011 film Girl Fight, and won the 1991 DGA Award for Outstanding Directorial Achievement in Dramatic Specials for his film Paris Trout. Following a recent screening of the film at the DGA Theater in Los Angeles, Mr. Gyllenhaal spoke with director Michael Apted about filming So Be It. During their conversation, Mr. Gyllenhaal discusses working with his cinematographer Patrick Murguia to craft the film's look, his rehearsal process while working with the film's young star, and why he is drawn to documentary in this part of his career.
Oh, you can't hear me, can you?
Can you hear me?
You could come nearer.
He's done this so many times, you'd think.
What was it particularly what elements of it attracted you to it?
I think the story of a little child having no clear sense of who she was, being essentially lied to for what the Alfre Woodard character felt was a good thing, but really wasn't, and having the tenacity to start to try and get to the truth. That really moved me.
I mean, it's a very, very good cast you got. How did you find your leading lady?
Well, it was interesting. It's always about the process of getting a movie made is always about trying to get enough money to do it. And the people who had put this together, Ryan, I think is in the crowd here, Ryan Richmond, had raised a good piece of money, but it really wasn't enough quite to do it. And also, I was concerned that you can make a movie with a small cast, nobody, and you're never going to get it out there at all. And so we started looking for the Alfre Woodard character, who went out to different actresses, and it was slow going. You know how it is. You send it out to an agent, and it takes them 3 months to get it to the actor, who then pretends to read it, and then it takes 2 months later, and you get a no, or you get a wait a bit, or whatever. And so the strategy first had been find the money character.
That was Alfre.
And that was Alfre, yeah. And I think the other thing that happened in the rewrite was that we built that character up. That character wasn't as extensive. It was much more little girl, and I knew that was not going to get us the money. So we worked on that character a lot. And then partway through it, we went, we're going to have to find this girl. And we started thinking, well, how are we going to do this? And Richard Hicks, who was the casting director, terrific casting director, said, let's start looking for the little girl, because it's going to take us a while. And by the end, he had sort of sifted through more or less 3,000 girls to find somebody in Burbank, which is where Talitha was. And I was doing Skype, auditions with all the young actresses that were doing movies around the world, and we were checking out England and Australia and all of that, and all over the United States. And we found her first, and we just kept on chugging away, trying to find an actress. And it's interesting. I mean, when I look back on it, Alfie was the perfect character to play it for many complicated, interesting reasons. I mean, the whole African-American white issue really...
Was that in the script?
No, not in the script at all. And I didn't ever, don't cast that way anymore. But it was dead on correct and really made me have an even increasing passion for the movie because of that.
Well, had the girl done much work before?
No, she had done very little.
Wow.
At that point. Her family was an acting family, but she'd hardly done anything. But almost right away when she came in, I went, this is looking good,
Yeah. I mean, how did you work with her?
Quite a bit. We went over the script. I went through the lines with her. And I worked hard with her, for quite a few weeks before we started shooting and before we brought anyone else to rehearse. I mean, I've learned, that goes back to watching Sidney Lumet work, for instance, out of the theater, which is really where I first watched another director work, to rehearse if you possibly could, as much as you can, almost like it's theater. And with her, I did that a lot. And we would talk about motivation, but she had an instinct. She had something there to work with.
She was very natural, I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you have to work to contain her? I mean, did she want to be more exuberant?
To be more emotional, I think, to get the emotion up more. I mean, I think it's difficult to, and then cover it. I mean, the whole idea was get the feeling up, get the emotion up, get it up, now cover it, now protect it, now cover it. And I think one of the great things was when we brought in the other actors and we did some table readings. I did about a week of table readings, breaking the script up and working with John Hurd, which was the last role he did. John
passed away, didn't he?
He did. He did. He was not doing well when we were shooting, but he was. All of the actors, Cloris Leachman and John and Alfie, were just to watch her meet these actors who just are such pros, and are into emotion and are into all of that. And John, who was just cantankerous and tough, and she just looked at them and was just delighted. And Talitha, this little girl, is just delighted by all of them.
Was she overawed by these experienced, famous actors?
Not one bit.
Really?
Yeah, she seemed to just relish it, yeah. And also, I think, having spent so much of my life working with actors, thinking about actors, watching them, and that thing that can happen when the actor across from you is natural, it just begins to bring the natural quality out. And that's what it did with Talitha.
Yeah, I mean, so the others followed her sensibility in a way.
Yeah,
all these incredibly experienced actors were following this young girl.
Yeah.
Well, that's an amazing stroke of luck, isn't it?
Well, it was. Yeah, it was. I could go on and on about the 3,000 people that we cast.
I thought she'd done other things, and so she was kind of out there.
Now, since then, she's done other things.
Yeah, I see.
We can kind of talk about. So the film was finished, and we took. These films take a while to distribute. She then went right from So Be It. We were sort of almost done, and she said, "I just got." And we were showing dailies to anyone who wanted to see it at that point. I said, "I'll help you however I can, to get other work." And she got, was it Annabelle, whatever that movie that came out, the horror movie, which I didn't see. Right. She said, I'm going to get to scream a whole lot, So she's still, a little girl. And so she did that movie after us, and it came out right before us.
Right.
So,
I mean, how were you worried about pushing her too much, or did you make her work as hard as she needed to?
I mean, I guess my philosophy is, and it's kind of what, in a funny way, I mean, my kids are actors, but something that my son-in-law said, Peter Sarsgaard, the best acting is when you're just who or what you are right at that moment, right, and you don't push it any more than that. So that in a way, we pushed it in rehearsal, but once we got on the set, it was just be as much as you can just be. So I wasn't ever really worried. And I think after the first day or so, the first 2 days were with Cloris Leachman, And I was really worried about that because she was, she didn't know her lines, was just, I was worried she wasn't going to show up. She looked like she was going to just fall apart. She's so old, I'm just kind of worried. Her leg she couldn't walk it with one of her, she had hurt her leg. It was like, she's not going to be there. She's not going to show up. We had someone at her house actually waiting to see if she would show up or not. And she got there on time and she was totally professional and she was great. But she was Cloris Leachman, and she's tough, fun, has to take center stage. But when I watched Talitha just react to her, just, that instinctive thing that a really interesting actor has, which is just, I'm responding to this other human being with who I am, and I'm not trying to fake it or do anything like that. I knew we were going to be fine. There was adjustments along the way and plenty of takes, but it was,
Did you rehearse her much?
Cloris?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's so difficult the position you're in when you've got the girl who you need to rehearse, but you don't really want to rehearse the other people around, do you?
Not too much. I mean, I did to some degree to help her, and also I think it's useful if you can do a table read to be sure they're comfortable with all the lines. And John Hurd, bitched about every line, and then did them all. And he had that whole long speech at the end, which is it's too long. But I love John. I worked him in one other movie, and
really?
I mean, I think he's just a complicated career with his whole.
And what about the main crew? Were they people you'd worked with before?
No, Patrick's here, actually. Patrick, where is he? Out there, the DP.
Did a very good job, sir. Very good. He's a cinematographer.
Yeah, cinematographer, wonderful. Out of the tradition of Mexico and all the things that are coming out of south of the border, where some of the best work is being done in the world. He's been in China doing a huge movie. This we did for next to nothing. Next to nothing is still a couple of $1 million, but you can see all the people and the crew. But total delight to work with. And the crew, one of the things about this was, and Orion was talking about it tonight a little bit, I insisted on shooting it in L.A. Excuse me here.
It's all right. Tell me if you want me to hit you on the back.
I will.
Right, okay.
Not yet, but it may come. Yeah. One of the things is I shoot a lot of television, and I had been in Atlanta where they wanted to shoot, and I'd shot in Vancouver, and I knew that you can't get good crews for an independent movie in either of those places, and any place where there's a tax rebate. One of the things about the tax rebate, of course, is that the crews catch on, and they don't do it for minimum. They up the rates, so. There's still a value for a tax rebate, but for a little movie like this, you get the 8th crew, and in Georgia, you would have had the 44th crew. Really? And same in Vancouver. I had shot in Vancouver a little before that, and there were 23 crews shooting in downtown Vancouver on the same night. And I'm going, there's no way you can get a crew. And I knew in L.A., because I had shot a show in a TV show, very low budget show in L.A., where the deal with them, and we did the same deal, which was we're paying not a lot. If you get another job, go do the other job that pays well, and you could always get a great crew member to fill in. It was a totally professional crew. I mean, it was a delight to work with that crew.
So you just shot all around the place?
We shot all around. We shot L.A. Well, we shot L.A. the way people have been shooting it for all the years they've been shooting in Hollywood. It can look like every part of the country. Although we did do second unit shooting in Liberty, actually the real Liberty, and we drove across parts of the country in a little RV, with water and next to nothing, and a couple of candy bars and shot.
So when you'd finished the movie, what was the position there? Did it have a release date or what? Was it put out there to kind of peek around a bit?
I think one of the delightful things about making this movie and oftentimes working in independent film is, and in this case, I was working with producers. It was their first movie. So there was all the excitement, all of the energy, all of the passion that sort of gets somewhat knocked out of you after a while, you know. So it was just, we're going to make a movie. We're going to make this movie. And I wasn't sure if they're going to pull it off for a while. I mean, you just don't know if the money's going to be there. But they were dogged about it, you know, and they were raising money on the phone with dentists and doctors. And, you know, just this way, you just go, oh, my God, this is, you know, and Orion in particular, who's here, was really emerging as a creative producer, you know, and you watched it happen. But there was no real plan, you know. I mean, we were doing little videos. I would do little videos, you know, with my iPhone trying to sell, you know, that we're making the movie. I remember somewhere I was shooting on some TV show, and I got in front of a camera. I got back behind the camera, and we were shooting like I'm shooting this thing, you know. It's all the TV set, you know. We were pretending, we were doing all these things, and they were raising money all the way along the way. And so what happened is, once we got Alfre, we knew we were kicking into gear, and we let all the investors know right away. We got Alfre, and then with Alfre, we got John, and then Cloris, and then Jacinda and Dash, and suddenly we had a cast that was, you know, that was you could get the money for it, and I think.
Yeah, they're good, those two, Jacinda and Dash. I've worked with them on TV. They're both excellent.
Yeah.
So how soon was it after you finished the movie that you knew that you had a real pattern to release it?
About a year. I guess about a year ago. I mean,
Right.
I guess a little less than a year ago that we knew. I mean, I didn't really know what the pattern was going to be. Really, and I never trust. You know, you never trust anything anymore. You know what's going to happen. But you know, they were, and I've produced movies as well. I've produced enough movies in my life to know I never, ever want to do it again. I'll produce a documentary, but these movies are brutal, and what it took for them to just stay on top of it, I kind of stayed out of that to some degree.
So you were much more experienced at producing than your producers.
Yes and no. Yeah. I was maybe more experienced, but not as good. It's a hard job, that job.
So what's next, do you think?
Well, my wife has written a wonderful script, which we've worked on for about a year, which is sort of in the works now and in the same process now. We've just literally gotten the script into a place, and now it's just, you know, okay, now we start going out to cast. And it's complicated now. It's much more difficult, as you know, than it was 5 or 10 years ago. I mean, the terrain keeps changing under your feet, so that you could always make an independent movie. And I've made a lot of them with female leads over the years. And one of the things about independent movies is that, you know, they were much more available. The women were much more available. The bankable stars were available. The Deborah Wingers, the Jessica Lange, some of the people that, you know. But now television, they're all doing television, so it's very hard to get a cast in an independent movie anymore. You know, it's like even my daughter is doing, you know, HBO. You know, it's like, you know, so you can't. So it's very, very difficult. But this is also a female lead, and so, you know, it'll just take a year maybe to cast it. We'll see where it goes. I'm also, you know, I've been doing television like we all do now, but I'm getting into documentaries. I produced a documentary. My wife, Kathleen, wrote and directed it, called In Utero, which has actually had a fascinating life, and we've sort of learned, you know, don't distribute through the Netflixes and the Amazons. This is about the science from conception to birth and its effect on all of us for the rest of our lives. And people haven't really thought all that much about that. So anyway,
has it done well?
It's done very well. It's done very well. But we've been self-distributing it. We had it first on all the platforms, and we took it off because they make all the money. I mean, it's just a joke. And now we've been self-distributing and doing quite well with it. So I'm going to do a follow-up to that documentary, and I'm doing another documentary. That seemed like an interesting world now, and it's still very much filmmaking, you know, and I love it. You know, it just was cutting today, shooting yesterday. You know, it's like. Do
you have a few ideas for documentaries?
Well, just those two at the moment. Yeah, at the moment.
So, I mean, how do you see the industry? I mean, both our last films were pretty small films. Well, mine was a bit bigger than yours, but nonetheless, it didn't get very much distribution.
Right.
And you wonder, why are we going on with this? Do you know what I mean?
Well, first of all, I think, and you know too, one of the interesting things is I think 15 years ago we would have said, oh, those movies we did 15, 20 years ago, they're gone. They were on nitrate and they've dissolved. All of our films are out there being seen still, almost all of them.
Yeah.
And they're available. So it's a different world, but they are being seen. I mean, I know So Be It. It's like is going to have a long, long, long life seen on television. I mean, everything I've made has been seen much more on television. The television screens are big now,
Yeah.
Hopefully not too much on computers and iPhones, but, I'm even going whatever, it's the story, it's the characters. That to me.
Did this film get into cinemas?
Yeah, it's been in 40 cities. So
great.
it's done, not that it's been, done massively well, but it's gotten out there. And I think strategically, that means it's been exposed to a large part of the country, which means it'll do very well ultimately in schools and all of that,
right. So you could become a documentarian. You are a documentarian.
I'm becoming that, and you're asking where is it all going? I think what's wonderful about art is that it just keeps changing, like science.
Right.
It's just changing, and there's a point when you go, I can only go so far with it, and I think. For me now, it's looking like, one more feature film, maybe a little bit of television, although I don't want to run a show. I mean, that's to me just a nightmare. But doing some episodes is a blast. I did the show Rectify, which was just wonderful to do, and documentaries. And then I think I was mentioning to you about 5 or 6 years ago, I mean, I'll admit this on stage, coming to Hollywood and making movies and television is pretty much an indication that you're crazy. And so I've been in some form of therapy or analysis, paid for by being able to be in the Hollywood movie business from college onward. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I went, I kind of love this psychological stuff. So I went back to school in between all of this and having a 3-year-old, which we have now, and got a degree as a therapist, and so I'm kind of going, well, sort of play with that.
Are you
too.
available?
I'm available. Yeah, I actually am doing free workshops now.
So one thing that always interests me about our process and whatever was this film. When you finished it, was it what you thought it was going to be?
I'll answer the first part of that question. There's something about making something, anything, that has fascinated me forever and given me just joy. I love fixing up a house. I liked when I was a little kid putting popsicle sticks together and creating something. There's something just about having something end up on this screen that you participated in. I've never liked taking a directed by credit. It's bothered me because it is so much.
You mean a film by or
a film by credit? Yeah, directed by I'll take. Film by credit. Yeah, I'll take the directed by credit. But I think there's something about just putting the pieces together that just excites me and always does. And when the film is done, I'm kind of done with it. I think. They never turn out the way you imagine them to be. They have their surprises that are better than what you'd hoped for, and I find I'm not sure it necessarily makes for the very best filmmaking, but it makes for a wonderful process. I kind of adjust as we go along and compromise, and you shoot something in 24 days, which is what this is. You're compromising,
I mean, that's what's fun about doing documentaries, because you never know where you're going.
That's right. It's all a mistake, in a way.
And my favorite quote about the whole business is, if the film turns out like you thought it was, you weren't listening.
Wow.
That was Albert Maysles said that, but that's more about, the doing of documentaries.
And you've done some of the best. Well, you have.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, anyway, this is a good job. And is it on Netflix at the moment?
The documentary?
No.
This? Yeah. Not yet. No. It's still in theaters.
Good.
And you may want to go see it again. If you want to tell your friends, go see it again. It's still out there in theaters. And so...
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would say one last thing.
Yeah.
It's the Guild it's such a joy and a pleasure and an honor to be up here.
Well,
I mean, to be able to be in this place is a delight.
you should be in this place.
Yeah.
You're a major player, my friend. A very influential player. All right, well, thanks for this.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thanks for listening to another DGA Q&A. Don't forget, you can check out past episodes of The Director's Cut wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll have a lot more for you in the coming months as awards season approaches, so stay tuned. Also, be sure to subscribe to our podcast to stay up to date on the great discussions we have coming up. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please like, share, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks again for listening, and have a great week. This podcast is produced by the Directors Guild of America. Music is by Dan Wally.